teaching for 25 years. I've been tutoring since before I finished Teachers College. Once I finished Teachers College, for about 6 months, there wasn't a job opportunity for me. It was just before a huge number of teachers were getting out, and so I was riding that wave a little bit, and so I started tutoring, and I loved tutoring. The reason I loved it was because I was fascinated by how the brain learns, because I had learning disabilities and learning issues as a kid, and some pretty significant ones, and so I was always fascinated by the brain. So I was able to really impact kids one-to-one in those hour sessions in ways that I hadn't been able to do when I was teaching them in a larger classroom. So when I had my son, I had 6 months maternity leave then, and I was tutoring then as well to just kind of make ends meet a little bit, and I was hooked, and I immersed myself in everything that was coming down the pike about neuroatypicality and neurodiversity and everything about the brain that I could get my hands on, because it was really impacting these beautiful kids that I was tutoring. When we started the business, it was when the big crash was happening and everybody was saying, don't do it, and my sister and I just thought, we're gonna go for it, because sometimes crashes are accompanied by kids needing extra help in school. So, and Windsor just afforded us everything that we needed to make this business flourish. I love so many things about owning my own business and tutoring. The most important part of it is that this was a lifelong dream of mine since I was a little kid. I wanted to create a safe and loving space for kids to come and just be honored for who they are. Our kiddos have forgotten just how incredibly amazing they are, because they're trying to fit into sort of a standard mold of where they're supposed to be, and when we're stuck there, we can't move forward. So what we do is re-engage them as learners, because they all are. Every single person can learn, and then we just get this vision of their beautiful innate potential. Every person comes onto the planet that way, and we just hold that for them until they can hold it for themselves again. Our business is expanding rapidly. We've expanded internally in terms of the services that we offer. So because we're so cutting edge, we've been doing a lot of things in terms of mindfulness. I learned mindfulness, oh my gosh, 35 years ago when I was a 14-year-old kid. Because I had had these learning disabilities that were sort of unresolved as a kid, I developed a pretty catastrophic anxiety disorder at around the age of 12. By the time I was 14, I was in really bad shape, and my mom found this practitioner for me who taught me sort of these tools to help me get into a more relaxed place and to sort of move forward. And it took me a couple of years, but once I did, I was able to beat essentially an anxiety disorder that most 85% of people don't recover from. So I have been innately sort of using mindfulness with all of my students for my whole career, but what we've done in the recent past is we have isolated this now and created classes of its own for it. And it's gone crazy because adults want to learn it, teachers want to learn it. I've been doing corporate stuff because essentially what it is it's just fine-tuning all of your tools, your executive functioning tools, which is just amazing. And for our kids, it's incredible because they can learn self-regulation, they can learn initiation, they can learn to work their working memories a little bit better, and it helps tremendously with mental health. Asked the question all the time, how are we different than other tutoring companies? And I think that there's some fantastic work being done out there for sure. We are very, very different in our approach than say the average tutoring place. But I think the biggest difference is our approach to the kids, and also that we are only one-to-one. We don't do it in people's homes, we only do it here in our center. And we are one-to-one all the time. The research is really, really clear that one-to-one works the best, and I'm only interested in doing the best. I was not a business person when I started. When Heather and I started, we were two teachers with a dream, and we've attracted so many other teachers who have the same kind of dream, creating safe space. But the challenge would be that we really learned along the way. Every policy and procedure and everything from CRA to HST, we even learned just how to get paid, which is a really cool thing once you learn that. That would be, I think, our biggest challenge. And but we've got people, and people help us, and So that's not as much of a thing, but at the beginning it sure was. We didn't know what we were doing. We knew how to teach, that was it. So 3 things that people might not know about me is that I'm involved with Windsor Light Music Theatre. My son, Dane, originally was about 9-10 years ago, somehow got cast as Charlie, a lead in Willy Wonka, and then we've been part of it ever since, and I have personally been on stage 2 times now in 2 shows, the most recent being Sister Act, so that's something that maybe a lot of people don't know about me. I am a huge Anne of Green Gables fan. That's very boring, I know, but it was the first time that I ever recognized myself in a book. My grandmother gave me that book when I was in grade 3, and I knew that Anne became a teacher and got herself into all kinds of trouble, and for sure had ADHD. That might be controversial because nobody's ever, but I also have ADHD, so I you know, because she tried so hard, but she got herself into what she would call scrapes all the time. I was always in a scrape or in some kind of trouble, because not because I was a bad kid, but because I was well-intentioned and got myself into trouble. So that's another thing. I am like ridiculously crazy about the beach. Like, I will do anything to go to any beach at any time. The sinking of my toes into sand, instantly I'm in heaven. That would be 3 things.